Sorry, I am a few minutes late. I want us to see a video before we start the session, and I would introduce myself after the video. Thank you very much.
As a result of the Industrial Revolution that kicked off in the mid-1700s, the Earth's surface is warming up.
Mr. Uni, did you please you could stop sharing and then optimize the sound and the video first.
Okay.
So we can hear it properly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think some people are muted on the call. Maybe you should mute all or something.
Please, Faisha, can you help me with that? Thank you.
Yes, it's done.
As a result of the Industrial Revolution that kicked off in the mid-1700s, the Earth's surface is warming up at a never-seen-before rate. A major reason for the rise in temperatures is the increase in the concentration of greenhouse gases in the Earth's atmosphere. These cause our planet to retain heat from the sun. Greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane are released into the atmosphere when fossil fuels are burned. Trees and oceans absorb carbon dioxide, but can't handle the large amounts that are now building up in the Earth's atmosphere. And because our forests are shrinking, even less carbon dioxide is absorbed. The high levels of carbon dioxide are already acidifying oceans, killing off coral reefs. It's also triggering a dangerous rise in sea levels and an increase in extreme weather events. Around the world and across Europe, innovators are now racing against the clock to invent new ways to live in our cities, use land, manufacture products, and run our businesses. New innovations are bringing down greenhouse gas emissions to confront climate change and its threat to our health and our economies, while creating new, sustainable growth and jobs. Join us at Climate Kick.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is David Uni. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Great. All right, so brief introduction about myself. I am an entrepreneur. I have an agro business and also a technology business. And I have been in the business environment for over 7 years now. And the reason why I am more particular about climate change and interested in climate change is because it affects me and it affects my business. And so I am very happy to be here with all you teachers and trainers of tomorrow's future to, help us in creating a direction that improves our environment. Yes, so today we're going to have a presentation that will be shared with you. So going through the presentation might not be according to the presentation because this is supposed to be a very interactive session between all of us. I am sure a lot of us have heard about climate change, and I'll be open to hear our views to help us understand the problems and see how we can effectively communicate to Nigerians, to future Nigerians, on how we can create sustainable solutions to help improve the environment. So as we've all known, we are constantly destroying our environment. Everyday work, what people go out to do and say they are doing work is hazardous to the environment. And we would take a look at that. So I'll be sharing my screen now and we'll start up the session. Thank you.
Okay, please, everyone, I just dropped the link for the first evaluation form so you can fill that up. You don't need to exit the meeting. You can do it while the meeting is still on. Thank you.
A moment. Yeah. So weather and climate. So what is weather? Weather is the observation of our environment. What are the conditions of our environment in terms of rain, humidity, dryness of an environment in a short period of time? So today's weather was cool. It rained here. I am assuming it rained a lot in your areas as well. That is weather. And then what is climate? Climate is we now taking record of weather patterns over a period of time. This can be 10 years, this can be 5 years, this can be the span of 30 years to say that this is the climate of this environment. So, like I just mentioned now, the difference between weather and climate is weather looks like the short term and climate looks at the long-term environmental condition of a specific environment or area. So classification of climate, we have tropics where we are in Nigeria. We have the dry and arid where we have in a lot of areas in the Middle East and Asia. We have temperate region, and we have the continental climate where we have warm and cool summer, where we have snow, and then we have polar as well, which is mostly cool all year round. So some definitions: humidity. Humidity is the measure of water vapor content in an atmosphere. Moisture is the liquids such as water in form of small drops, either in the air, in a substance, or in a surface. And then there's pressure, is the continuous physical force exerted on or against an object by something in contact with it. So for example, pressure can be built up in the atmosphere that can be exerted on the molecules of air or water in that environment, which we give to as pressure. Pressure also is related to gravity, because gravity puts pressure on everything that is on the surface of the earth, which holds our atmosphere together. Then there's precipitation. This is water that falls from the cloud towards the ground, especially as rain or snow. Interesting. When we say what is snow, snow is just like rain, as it's raining here right now. Because of the temperature, the water that is dropping now as rain would be crystallized into flakes, and that drops as snow in our environment. Yes. So first, I want to ask us, what do we think? Tell me, in your own opinion, what have you observed in our environment that is related to climate change? Please, I would like to open this up to everyone. We have 26 participants today. So just unmute yourself and speak on this. What have you experienced in your environment? Only things that you have experienced, not what you've heard. What have you experienced that is linked to climate change? Thank you, guys. Hello, am I speaking with?
Hello.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Adeyemo from Lanre Awoloko High School.
You're welcome.
Learning what I've observed about climate change in our society, in our community. So when it's sunny, it's with high temperature, it's quite sunny and quite scorching. And when it rains too, it rains heavily that it causes flooding. So those ones are quite observable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Good morning.
Good morning.
From Malara Senior High School.
You're welcome.
What I've observed in recent time about climate change is the predicted time by the has actually changed. Maybe that we are supposed to expect the rain, and most time it's always fluctuating, and even the amount of rain we get is not that much like what it is expected to be in the month of, and even during the dry season as well. The weather is always kind of harsh. The sun is always high, burning the skin and lots more like that.
Thank you very much. That's very, very good observation. Let's take one more and then we'll continue.
Good morning. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes, I can.
This is Mr. Alufeson from Ekpe Girls Senior High School.
You're welcome, sir.
My observation is that I think the weather these days we can't really predict. They are not predictable. In those days you can easily say, okay, rain will fall within so month, the time of dry season and wet season. But these days everything is just sometimes rain falls as maybe hot as even the sun when it comes out is somehow too scorching that you have to really enjoy it.
That's very good observation. Thank you very much.
Compared to those days when so that's what I feel.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I want to lay emphasis to the past few weeks. So it rained about a week ago in my area in Lagos, in Ikeja, and the storm was so severe that multiple houses on my street, the roofs were opened up by the storm. Even some people's gates were opened up. The padlock holding the gates together ripped off. And this is something that is unexpected, at least in all of the years that I've been experiencing rain in our environment. And this is a direct effect of climate change, which means we cannot predict what is happening. We are not certain anymore of the seasons, what we are supposed to expect from the weather. And also, you've also mentioned when it's dry, when we're in the dry season, the sun is always it's scorching. It is hotter than usual, and this is also a result of climate change. Because if you have a tree in your compound around you, if it's sunny and you go under the tree, it is cool. So naturally, there are mechanisms that nature has put in place to cool every environment. So in the temperate region, when it's hot, there are supposed to be trees to control the temperature in the environment. But we are always going ahead and cutting trees for furniture, cutting trees to build our houses, to farm, and we are disrupting the natural order of our environment. So this is very big, because even me personally now, aside from my activities in agriculture, which was affected by this same rain, it destroyed a lot of crops. It has also put cost of fixing roof now. So that is how connected we are and how directly affected we are with climate change. So let's move on. So this slide has been structured in a way which allows you to have conversations with your students. You train them on the topic, for example, climate, weather and climate that we are on now. And then there are evaluations where you ask questions. There is also classwork and assignment as well. So going to the second class. So what is climate change here? It says climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns. These shifts may be natural, such as through variation in the solar cycle, but since 1800s, human activity have been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. Burning fossil fuel generates greenhouse gas emission that acts like blankets wrapped around the earth. So normally we always think that burning fossil fuel carbon is bad for the environment. Yes and no, because carbon is part of the elements on our planet, which is necessary for plants to grow, because plants would take in the carbon and use that, store the carbon as their tree trunks, and use that to grow and produce oxygen for us. So carbon is essential, but the way we are going about our activities is producing excess carbon into the Earth's atmosphere. And when this happens, when this planet heats up, carbon itself now retains that heat for a longer period and then makes it hotter for everybody and continue to damage our atmosphere. So burning of fossil fuel, this is one of the major activities that we do that affects climate, because one, we burn fossil fuel to run our industries, we burn fossil fuel for electricity, we burn fossil fuel for transportation. Everywhere we go to, we are running some form of combustion engine that runs on petrol or diesel, and this gives a byproduct of carbon dioxide. So in this diagram, we would see the effect of CO2 in the atmosphere. Instead of heat that is being radiated on the earth be reflected out of the earth, it is being trapped in our atmosphere, which makes it hotter in our atmosphere, and that affects climate on the planet. These are examples: burning of petrol or diesel in our transport sector, deforestation, a lot of deforestation activities going on. If you think about it, a lot of Nigerians still rely on firewood and charcoal, and that directly comes from the forest. And we always hear there is always fantastic idea that our government has on how to regenerate the forest and all of that, but we know that all those things are not adhered. So landfills too. Landfills now is a different case, because landfills, if we only had inorganic materials like plastic, metals and stuff going into our landfill, it won't produce any methane. But because we need to control the volume of mass that we have in our landfills, we are always burning landfill. There was a period, I think a few years ago, that I was driving through Ojota, and everywhere was just filled with smoke. And this was a result of burning of landfill in that area. Also, biodegradable waste, which comes from our kitchen, markets, and animals, are also dumped in landfills. And this produces methane, which is even more powerful than CO2 that affects our atmosphere. So here we have landfill, we have energy, industry, transport, building, agriculture. Agriculture is a big one. Animal dungs also from agriculture. So one of the main reasons why agriculture is a big issue is that we have over 7 billion people on earth today, and everybody needs to eat. So we need to produce food for them. In the process of producing food, first we'll clear the land. 2, we'll plant, and then we'll use chemicals on those lands to prevent pests and to control weed. And these chemicals in itself destroys the ecosystem in our environment. So after all of that, now animal dungs, again, the waste products of these animals that we're keeping, when not properly managed, would also produce methane into the atmosphere. So climate change and drought in Nigeria. One of the major effects of climate change in our country is drought. When the climatic pattern changes, in some areas, there will be excess rain. In some areas, there will be drought. There will be less precipitation of water. And this directly affects the livelihood of people in this area. For example, Lake Chad. Lake Chad has shrunk to 1/3 of its original size, which means all the farmers in that region, all the cattle that need to go and drink water, they have less water resource to sustain themselves. And in this way, this is why people are moving from those areas, coming to the south to come and graze, and we're having issues of herdsmen because they are clashing with local communities that are not used to having cattle herders coming to them. So in a sense, this creates migration issues, this creates conflicts, because when people come and want to survive, they will do almost anything to try and survive. And the people that are also coming to their land would be overburdened because now they need to manage new people in their communities that they did not plan for as well. So these are some of the issues that we are facing in this country. There are even countless other issues. For example, the petroleum industry, there is a problem called gas flaring. So when we are extracting oil, we meet gas first before we get to oil. And then all of this gas is coming out and is being burnt into the atmosphere. These are gas that can be used to produce electricity, but we are not doing that. Everything is just adding to the effects of these industries in increasing the amount of CO2 in our atmosphere. The impact of drought, like I mentioned, it makes people vulnerable. You know, people need to migrate, they need to move to different locations to look for activities they can engage themselves in, like the cattle I mentioned that are moving around, are affecting the whole value chain of economies in those areas that are affected. Climate change and flooding. Flooding too is a big part. And if I am to say, what do we think causes flooding? I want to ask, how does climate change create flooding? Please, I'd like one or two people to give me their opinion on that.
Hello. Like I said earlier on, still Mrs. Adeyemo, like I said earlier on, when we have much rainfall and the land is waterlogged, then we have much water, you know, the water bodies are flooded, the oceans too are flooded. Then what we have at the end of the day, the result will be flooding, because the water bodies, the ocean, the seas, they are risen up to an high level. They've risen far beyond their capacity, which later results to overflooding.
Thank you very much, man. You're right, you're correct. Any other angle to this issue?
Good afternoon, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Mr. Additional from Udoba Senior High School.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, to my own understanding, the melting of the ice at the northern hemisphere, leads to flooding.
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes, you're very correct, sir. You are very correct. Thank you for that observation. Yes, so I would like to add to this. So in terms of problem solving, when you take problem solving as a subject, it is important for us to go to the root cause of this problem, because when we understand the root cause, then our solutions can be tailored to that root cause and create exponential effect in the solution that we hope to achieve. So if we look at it now, if you're in the forest and it rains, what happens? The soil soaks up the water, the topsoil soaks up the water, and the water goes into the ground, our reservoirs and water channels, maybe to move to rivers and stuff. But now in our cities, we hardly see soil. There is pavement of road almost everywhere. Everybody's compound has cement covering it, interlocking stone. So the surface cannot absorb water anymore as it used to. And then when there's now excess rain, our drainage system, the gutters that we have, they cannot handle the volume of water that is a result of the excess rainfall. And so this way, everywhere will be flooded because there is no way for the water to go to. This is a big issue in Lagos. It is happening almost everywhere, and even worse in areas like Lekki and all those areas where they are even closer to the sea. So when we look at it, almost all of our activities have some form of effect on climate. And why is this? And this is because when we are planning our towns, when we are planning our buildings, we don't have the environment in our mind. All we care about is our comfort. I don't want snakes in my environment, so I'm going to cut down all the trees and put interlocking stone everywhere to make everywhere look beautiful. But that is at the detriment of our environment. One of the issues that caused climate was also, flooding recently, which affected areas around Nigeria, Anambra State, Delta states, and other states, was because we failed to dredge our rivers. Dredging is a process where we remove soil from the river to make it deeper, and so it can contain more water. And the failure for us to maintain that, when the dam was opened in Cameroon, it flooded a lot of environment, and that disrupted value chains. Cars were not unable to pass to deliver goods and services. There was fuel scarcity. These are ways where climate change can affect our livelihood in a big way. So some people might say, we are safe. God is behind us. God is with us. At least we don't have hurricane in Nigeria. We don't have tornado. We don't have this. No, we are not safe from anything. Nigeria is part of Earth, and anything happening anywhere will directly affect us. So someone just mentioned now about ice melting in the polar region. This is a very, very important thing, because in the Arctic, where we have Alaska, we have Antarctica, there is a vast land, almost the size of West Africa, that is holding ice. And this ice, is also water, just frozen. So as the planet warms, the ice sheet is melting. And as it's melting, our water level is rising. So if we continue at this trajectory and the ice melts, there will be at least like 4 meters high additional to the current water level. So that means everybody in Lekki, everybody in BI, down to even mainland, will be using boats to go to work and come back. That is even if they don't abandon their properties. And these are examples of times that climate change, that flooding has happened in Nigeria. In 2012, river burst their banks and submerged vast land in 30 of the 36 states in the country, killing over 400 people and displacing 1.3 million others. Another example that was worse than this was what happened last year in, what's the name of this country? I've forgotten the name of this, in Pakistan, yes. One single flooding in Pakistan last year displaced 30 million people. That is a huge number of people. Those people are still not recovered today. And another direct impact of flooding is that all the farmlands, all the animals within that area will be destroyed. And that can lead to famine as well. So we can see that as much as we don't speak enough about climate in our day-to-day lives, it is affecting us every day. Other examples are in 2019 and 2020, and also 2022, which I just mentioned now. So causes of flooding: infrastructure of road, poor or non-existing drainage system, poor waste management, yes, because when we don't manage waste well, they get into our drainage system and clog the flow of water. Unregulated urban expansion, yes, people will just, I bought land here, I bought land there, you pay taxes and you are allowed to build your house. People that are collecting money from you don't even care. Everybody just wants money. Very funny situation. Other impacts of climate change is food crisis. I mentioned that already. And water scarcity. As we are having flooding here, and it's raining more in this area, in other areas, it's not raining at all. Last year, there was drought in Europe. The drought was so severe that even shipping companies that are moving goods from Europe to other parts of the world, they have to reduce the amount of cargo they carry, because if the weight is too much, the ship cannot move as a result of low water level. So these things are real. They can affect us economically. They can affect our health as well. A lot of people would want to take their holidays and say, I'm going to the riverbank, to relax, and see the scenery. Or on getting there's no river anymore. I wonder what we are planning for the future generation. Maybe we don't want our children to enjoy the lives we're enjoying right now. So funny. So loss of biodiversity. I'm sure we understand the cycle of life. In every ecosystem, there are hierarchies. Some organisms or mammals need to feed on others to survive. So in our farms, when we use chemicals to kill everything, mosquito is biting me, I want to fleet mosquito, I'll kill all the other insects too. This is affecting the food chain, and this leads to extinction of some organisms on Earth. So this crisis has reached a point where 80% of the insects have gone. We've killed 80% of the insects in the world already. That is alarming. It's alarming. So loss of livelihood, like mentioned earlier, people are forced to move because there is no water. No matter how beautiful your city is, no matter the billions or trillions of naira that you spend in making everything amazing, if there is no water for people to drink, everything is not useful. People will have to move. We don't debate. There's no debate with climate. As they say in courts, there's no face, no case. You cannot carry it to courts about anything. Conflict and migration as well. People move, people fight when they get to new locations, fight for resources that are already dwindling. So evaluations for students, classwork. What role can young people play in reducing the negative impacts of climate change? So before we go into that, let's have a conversation about solutions. What are the solutions for all these issues that we have mentioned? What are the solutions out there, or solutions that are not even out there that one genius within us can come up with, to solve this problem? So I would open the floor again for conversations, at least maybe like four or five people should talk about this. What are the solutions you've seen out there? What are the solutions that you have taken personally, to improve the climatic condition of our environment?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Odisha Absola from Ijobi Junior High School.
You're welcome.
Yeah, actually, to my own opinion, how we can make things change, like the solution, maybe we should stop burning or we should reduce the amount of which we burn our fossil fuel.
Yes, you're right. But when I talk about solution, is we know we need to reduce. So what is our way to reduce? That's my question. Like, what do you know? Or what have you seen out there that can help us actually reduce it? Do you have any ideas? Well, if you don't, I'm sure somebody else will help you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, let me contribute while we are waiting for others too. So my name still remains Mrs. Adeyemo from Lanre Awolokun High School. So what role can young people play in reducing the negative impact of climate change? Speaking about it is also a way of getting involved. Having campaigns on the negative impact of climate change is a very good way for young people to get involved. Talking about plastic pollution, taking conscious actions by not getting involved with things that would eventually cause climate change, being responsible. And like this kind of competition would always spur young minds to also think and research on what are the things that cause negative impact in our communities, then they learn to take action. And a very good way that we have adopted in my school is the use of, the school garden. We have an eco garden whereby we use some plastics in planting, some old stuffs in planting crops in our school. And these are ways by which students can get involved. By learning to plant and having a garden, they are learning, they are taking action, they are being responsible, and they are even learning to produce food. Then I think that's a very good way of getting young minds to get involved in reducing the negative impacts of climate change. So taking action is a very good way, and also being responsible towards anything that can cause climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you for your contribution, and you're right. First, advocacy. Advocacy is important because what people don't know, they can't act upon. So it is important for us to have conversations around climate change, to educate people that don't know. Or when people start complaining about something and they don't have any idea that it is climate related, we point it to them that this thing, everybody is involved, or you too, you are causing to it, or that is very important. Thank you very much. Any other suggestion?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Mrs. Olaboshinde from Elekpe Community Junior High School, Ikorodu.
You're welcome.
Like for the young ones, especially, the target is in the school now. It should be included in the curriculum, and like the other participants said, we should make sure that these children not just been taught. Like in basic science, there's 3 weeks or 5 weeks set aside for teaching of depletion of the ozone layer. But what I realized that they were just taught. They were not allowed to practice or have a better understanding of what they are doing. Like what we are doing now is they will be taught and they will be made to act. And it has to be continuous. Like we have just been told, this planting of trees is just that they will think it's activities. Let's just plant. But if we make it compulsory and continuous, those things that needed to be corrected will be parts and parcel of them. And like you have said, ignorance, when they know, they will know what to do. But if they don't know, everybody, just like you said, the cement flooring of the whole compound and everything, we just thought it's okay, let it be neat. But now, when we are aware of it, some people will leave some parts and make a garden and allow the water to drain down, and every other activities that we have cut off will be replaced now. And the young ones will that is parts and parcel of the system, because technology and development is killing the system now. So we have to revisit. We should not allow technology to destroy us. Our system must remain natural as it has been. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Well said. Thank you very much. All right, so if someone else wants to add, please just hold on for me. So I would discuss a few solutions out there that can improve our emission in the environment. So one is electric cars. I'm sure we've heard that electric cars are coming. They are not only coming, they are here now. I can see them even in Lagos. I've seen Teslas, I've seen other car brands too. The electric cars, Mustang, are out there. And that is a sign that there's a pivot. There's a turning point from our policymakers and automakers, that there is a need for us to change. We cannot just continue this way. So electric cars are a good way to reduce carbon emission. But there are arguments that even in the production of these electric cars, you will still go and mine resources. You will still go and do this. You are still polluting the environment in producing the electric car that you are saying will solve this problem. But when we look at it, when you produce an electric car, And let's assume that you use 5 tons of CO2 is emitted while you are producing an electric car. And then same 5 tons of CO2 is used when you are producing a petrol car. Now we have 5 tons released into the air per vehicle. But from the point at which the vehicle has been produced, the electric car, since the energy that is used to charge the electric is renewable, for example, wind and solar, then the electric car does not continue to produce emission. But the gasoline car will continue to burn fossil fuel every day. So electric car is a big solution that has come to stay. In 10, 15 years from now, no company in the world will be producing any gasoline car. In fact, if they are producing any gasoline car, it will be extremely expensive cars for racing or sports and things like that. And people still don't believe this, that this is also going to affect Nigeria. Because I ask you, how many car companies do we have in Nigeria? I know Innoson, I don't know any other one. So if Toyota and every other company are not producing electric gas cars anymore, which car will we buy? Electric cars. And also, in terms of the energy sector, electricity, we are currently burning a lot of coal around the world. In Nigeria, we are burning a lot of petrol products for our generators because we use a lot of generators here. So what are the solutions to this? There is solar energy, which I'm sure we know. There is wind energy. There is wave energy. This is energy harnessed from wave on the ocean. There is geothermal energy. This is energy extracted from the earth crust. We dig into the earth, and the heat in the earth is used to boil water to turn turbines. There is nuclear energy, energy derived from fusion reaction. Splitting of atom produces heat, and that heat is used to boil water to drive a turbine. There are battery solutions. We have batteries technology, lithium-ion battery technology today that allows electric cars to be possible. There are also different forms of battery. There is sand battery, where you will heat up sand in an insulated environment. So the sand is hot now. When the sun goes down and you use solar to heat the sand, the heat from the sand will now be used to boil water and generate electricity. So that is another solution for that. Other solutions are the current systems that we have that are using fossil fuel to run. We are using charcoal to cook stoves. People are coming up with different ways of making those systems more efficient. So we burn less coal. So we use less fuel. That's why you see car companies will say our engine are more efficient. It runs on 1.1 liter per mileage. You know, so these are ideas that people are looking to bring in to reduce our carbon footprint. Another is recycle, the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. This points to our lifestyle. We are consumer driven. Everybody wants to buy stuff. We are going to church to pray to have money to buy stuff and destroy it. You know, I don't understand why God should be answering those prayers. You know, so we need to understand that we get the things we need. We reuse the things we can reuse. And then we recycle the things that are useful and can be recycled. We give second life to materials. And a lot of people are talking about a circular economy. So you don't use and dispose, you use and reuse. And then it makes the system circular. The same resources you use to produce your shoe, you will melt it and use it to produce new shoes, or use it or upcycle it and use it to produce other products. So these are examples of things. So the way I'm having this conversation with you guys now is how I would like you to also think, do research by yourself to engage the mind of your students, to not just read something out to them or tell them something, to let them understand the causes, the reason why human beings are still even causing this problem that we know is affecting our environment. So once they understand the fundamentals of the problem, it will help them to think about how they can effectively make change. So if anybody else have anything else to add aside from what I've said, Please, I'd like to hear.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Oshubayo Omolayo from Army Children's Senior High School here in Ekpe.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. So I would like to, from my home perspective, I'm thinking of what of if we can just see it in this way, what of protecting the seas and the ocean? Because I observe that many of these pollutants from these companies, they direct it, they channel it down to the ocean, to the seas, and which as well inhibit the growth of all animals under the sea. And at the same time, some of these, hello?
I'm here, I can hear you.
So at the same time, some of these pollutants, it go down into the soil. It channels down into some farmlands, whereby it causes havoc to plants, to whatever thing that is on the land for human consumption. So I'm thinking if we can just, I'm trying to contribute in the perspective of we protecting the ocean, we protecting the seas by we making awareness to companies, to factories closer to the oceans in ways they can channel and not bringing it down to the oceans. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, man. This is a very, very valid point. And I also thank you because you brought my mind to that space of pollution that is happening. Yes, a lot of factories use water. And a lot of this water creates waste. And what they do is they just discharge this waste into the environment. This one will kill the fishes and life forms inside our water system. And for those ones that it doesn't kill, we will go ahead and feed on them. And those chemicals are being transferred to us. So it is very important for us to understand that as much as we are on land, there are billions of life forms in our oceans. And the fact that they are alive in the ocean is what creates a balanced environment in the ocean for the ocean systems to function properly. So when we care less and we discharge anything we want, we overfish to feed ourselves and to feed our animals, we are also destroying the ecosystem in the oceans. And when we do that, if we destroy the ocean, it will destroy every other thing on Earth. Thank you very much for that observation. Any other one? All right, in the absence of any other, I hope that we are all, following up. For those of us that are not speaking, go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Austin Ilebede from Ogumodede Senior College, Ekpe.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes, thank you. Concerning the question you asked, I think we already know the solution, but you asked that what can we help to solve the solution? Can we help to, effect the solutions? And I want to use my school as an example. The Lagos State government is currently running a comprehensive college. It's just like a technical college in a regular school. I don't know whether you are aware of that. And Ogumodede happens to be one of the schools in Ekpe doing trusting. So one of the ways I feel they are contributing to this climate change is in the practical aspect of what they do. First, they are into solar production and smart agriculture. Are you following me?
Yes, I am, sir.
Yes, and solar, when you produce solar to homes, it reduces the burning of fuel for generator and the likes, gas emissions and the likes. And when you also use smart agriculture, then you are recycling plastics, just like PET bottles. You are recycling them, using them to plant whatever agricultural products, and even using them to make some art and craft works that we do. I've witnessed this. I've seen some of these students do this, some of these things, and we even have some pictures to even back it up. So I feel those are also some of the ways that students or the young ones are also contributing to, climate change in their own little way.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. I did not know about that operation there, and it's really nice to know that that is happening, and you're right as well. What we are doing here right now is a solution for climate change. Having this conversation with you guys is part of the solution for climate change, because it is important that people know. And even for those of us that are here, we might have one idea or the other, but because we are all having a conversation, we are interacting, we will be able to learn more from each other. So that is a brilliant solution. There is a whole lot of industry in the waste sector. The potential in what we can produce from the problem that we have created is huge. I give you an example. We are currently sourcing a lot of our animal protein from the ocean. We go and pack all the small fishes inside the ocean that are supposed to be big later and kill all of them and use it to do fish meal. And an alternative to that is all of this waste coming from our biodegradable waste coming from our kitchen, coming from markets, coming from our farms, can be used to produce gas, biogas. And this gas can be used to produce electricity. It can be used to run vehicles. It can be used for cooking. So what is causing problem is also a way to make money. Another is for the fishes that are being taken out of the oceans, our waste, those same bio waste can be used to produce insect larvae that can be sold. There is a huge market for it. There's a company in Lagos today in partnership with the Lagos State government somewhere in Ikorodu that they recycle animal waste and food waste into protein. And that company makes at least like 500 million naira a month. That is amazing. What everybody regards as waste is potential profit, a potential business. And this is the point of what we are doing. The fact that you're training students, you're training people that will go into the world and think of how they can, contribute to the environment. When they have this kind of knowledge, when they have this orientation that, whatever we are doing needs to be reducing carbon in the environment, the solutions that I'm coming up with need to solve environmental problems. The company that I am starting needs to have an environmental department to evaluate our impact in the environment. Everything that is being done, all the actions that we are making, before we make those actions, we first think about it. And what forms our thoughts is the information that we have gathered in our environment. So I tell you that our being here is very, very vital and crucial to the future of our environment, of our country, and the preservation of nature. Yes. So any other person, I'm really excited that you guys are bringing different angles out, in this session.
Okay, Adewole, your hands are raised. You can unmute your mic and speak. Adewole, your hand, you can unmute your mic and speak. Maybe. Okay, it's okay. You can speak. Damilare, you can speak.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I don't know if you can hear me. Okay, thank you for this privilege. Yeah, I've listened to a whole lot of solutions that they are very good, but I realize that for us to have a good advocacy of some of these things, it's good that our students in public schools right now, they share the news and then get the parents accustomed to some of these things. we understand that the public school students, they have a larger population in the space when compared to private school students. So I feel that some of these things, it will go a long way through them, for them to know better. Now, this is what I mean. Some of these solutions that people have mentioned, is it possible for us to teach them, get them incorporated with some of these things, and then they go home, they teach their parents? You mentioned something about biogas. If it's possible for us to have a practical solution to biogas, how people can use it at home. We teach our students in school. They also set it up at home. The other time when you were mentioning about, you were saying something about electric cars. How cost effective is this for people to get electric cars and all of these things? Even the nuclear power and some other sources of power that you mentioned, how cost effective can people get this? But let's get to the roots, and then let's tell our young people some of these things that are achievable in the now. Even if it's relating to insects, burning, some of these that are very achievable and affordable. And we'll teach our children at school. They go home, they teach their parents, and then we start from somewhere, instead of waiting for the very big ones. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I am really grateful for what you just said right now. And first of all, I want you to understand that as an organization, Nets Factory is also starting to look at how can we effect change in this aspect. As a business, we've come up and said Lagos State, Access, and other companies and say, let us do something now. So from our own point of view, what we're having right now is we, taking charge and saying, let's make a change. But based on what you have said, you said something about electric cars and how affordable they are. Electric cars right now are not affordable, because if you are most likely buying an electric car, majority of them are new cars, so new cars are expensive, just like petrol car too. If you're buying a new Toyota Corolla now, it's maybe 22 million, but with time, we will have used electric cars and people can use those ones, for those that can afford. And for those that can afford new electric cars, it is best they opt in for that. And the reason why is because already as a rich person in Nigeria, you will have generator in your house. You will most likely have solar or inverter, battery inverter in your house. This energy that you're using on your day-to-day activities in your house can be used to power your car. And if you have for example, a Tesla, if you charge your Tesla to 80%, it will take you 1 week to drive around Lagos before you need to charge it again. So for those that don't know, that have the money, it's important that we still give information to those pupils so they can give the information to their friends. We can eventually get the information to those that can afford to do that, And then on the main part that you mentioned is practical, cost-effective practical solutions that can be carried out by students, that is very, very important. And that is one of the things that I am pushing for, to say this program that we are doing is not ending here. This is just starting. So over the course of our activities in this sector, we would now look at, let's create projects for students, So the project will now say, okay, for you to do an experiment on setting up a biogas plant, you will need 50,000 naira, for example. These are the materials that you will need. This is the step-by-step guide on how to create the solution, and this can be shared across school. If it is possible for us to be able to fund that 50,000, yes. If it is possible for the student to donate and fund it themselves, yes. So I can assure you that all of these things I have said are also in the pipeline of activities that we have. So what we are starting with now is pushing the information across, getting people to know, and it is not going to end there. That I can assure you. So I hope that I've been able to answer, your questions, and thank you also for your observation.
Okay. Thank you so much, Larry, for that. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
So the thing is, advocacy for climate change is something that needs to happen in Nigeria. Like, in fact, more than we need the electric cars and the government policies and all of that, people need to know. In primary school, we're taught that, oh, plant
Hello,
taking.
Feisha.
Can you
Sorry.
hear me?
Hello, Feisha. Yes, please. I need like a few seconds. I need to go and burn fossil fuel so I can continue this class. I want to turn on. I want to turn on my generator. All right. So I'll be here in just like 2 minutes. I should be back. Thank you. Go on.
Okay. 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 So, why am I saying this? Recently, okay, before I start, so this is like the second time we're doing this. We started this project in District 3, in District 4 actually, and this is the second phase of it, getting people to know about, getting students to know about climate change. Like, that's why the curriculum is like this. When we engage the students, they did not know anything. It's like, it felt like it was something that was just, I don't know, like something that came out of the blue to them. Amazing how children have access to the internet, but yet climate change is something that they don't even read about. They don't bother to read about. I'm not even going too far. Me, when did I even start? How long ago did I become part of this? So it's very important. I've met some people that asked me, like, why do we even need trees? Basically, if you don't have trees, you're going to die. That's why you need trees, because you need to breathe oxygen. But if you don't have trees, you don't have oxygen. And they don't even know that. Young people say that. Let's not even go about going to the older people. Advocacy is very, very important. The major thing we're trying to do is to try to get people to get engaged, to talk about climate change. Let them understand that most of the things that are happening in this country is not spiritual. Lagos right now has very poor oxygen. They've sold everywhere. They have built everywhere. Lagos is a concrete dungeon. Now they've entered Ekpe. These estates they build, I don't even know why the government is not doing anything about it. You just see them, they just buy land. They're selling houses for 75 million, 80 million per flat, and then they'll put one bucket of plants there. You killed an entire over 400 square meters of green, and you're replacing it with just one small cup of, how does that make up for what you're taking out? The children that are born in this Lagos, they've never seen butterfly with their 2 eyes, a live butterfly. It's that serious. What's happening in this state is bad. So how do we practically start? What I started doing was simple. I started putting a bag in my house. So what I do, I put all the plastic waste there. Like, I just put plastic bottles. And it amazes me how much plastic bottles I have by the end of the week. And I didn't know, in fact, right now, the next bag, I'm looking at it, it's already full. There's over 15 of them inside there. That's just for this week. And that's because I was really busy. Imagine when I didn't have that bag, I didn't know how much plastic I was just throwing out. So it's very simple. We can get these kids, tell them, put a bag in your house. You can put the trash. You don't even need to go far. Although we want to have a recycle project in school, right, where they can actually recycle in school. And also, if they have bottles at home, they can also bring that and have it recycled as well. But for me, what I do, these guys that come to take out trash, I give them the trash separate, and they just collect that one. You don't even need to throw the plastic inside, because you know those things that are showing, it's going straight to the landfill. But if you have a separate bag for the trash, for the plastic bottles, you can just give it to them. They sell it somewhere at Ojota. I don't really know the exact spots. I've not really found out, but they sell it. Or there are these guys that go around picking up plastic bottles. They can just have it in their houses, and they don't even have to spend much. Just give it to them. Those guys go to recycle. But we have to take these measures. If you have space in your compound to plant something green, do it. It's very, very important that we take this seriously, because every single day, more things are happening in this Lagos. Very soon, it's funny because Lagos will become what's the word? Is it inhabitable, or what's the word? Because it's losing oxygen, like its oxygen is polluted. Lagos is dirty. You can't even stay near a canal. You can't. The smell
I'm
is
back.
horrible.
But go ahead, Feisha.
The smell from the canals, that it's horrible. So I feel like, in as much as we want to look at the government policies, yes, we need the government to do more. They need to do more. They need to hold these real estate people accountable. There need to be rules. In Singapore, there are rules. If you're clearing a land to build a house, the amount of green you destroy on that ground, you replace it on the wall of that building. If there's no place for you to plant a tree, you put wall plants to cover the amount of green you destroyed on the ground. And everybody is just, Singapore, Singapore, Singapore. But that's what being dedicated does. And that's the area where we need to go to. Amazingly, right now, we're saying that electric cars are expensive, right? So now what people don't know is that the top world countries in the world, they're literally already creating funds to help people in their country change their cars from petrol cars to electric cars. You guys are going to realize by 2030, you see the amount of used cars that will be cheap in this country. That's because people there are already funds, like government. The UK is already doing it. I know of that. And I'm pretty sure the US is already doing it. I know very much of the UK, and I'm sure Germany is already doing it as well. They're already creating funds to help people purchase petrol cars. That's how serious these guys are about zero emission. Now, Nigeria will they wait. And what's funny is that we are the ones that even feel this thing more than they do. The thing hits us, the impact hits us so bad. And yet we are the ones just doing, but we need to start from somewhere. You see, this government, when we have done our part and like they cannot again, it is going to be very obvious that you people need to do better. But we need to create the awareness and start with the students as well. So that's why we're going through all these ones. So for saying Net Factory, we really hope to get, I'll not lie to you, getting attention of organizations to fund things like this is difficult. It is. So you see this evaluation that we're doing, they're going to require it. Once this boosts out, like people see, like it's literally coming up, then you can go to them like, oh, we are having this, we need to sponsor these children, we need to make them do better. Then they've seen results, they can actually put in their funds, because that's the thing, people want to put their money where they see results. So that's what we're pushing for. Hopefully we can get more funds, we can get more people to support us, and then we can get funds, and then we can grow this thing far and can move from just having the students write essay competitions to going way far than that. Because the world is actually going green, and that's it. It's going green and nothing is stopping it. Nothing. It's a force of nature. It's just going to happen. So you're either on its side or it will just cover you. But we have to start from our own houses. We can just create, you can just try for 1 month, just be conscious of how much plastic you use. You'll be surprised. Just 1 month. Do a test from today. Just see how much plastic you use. You'll be shocked. These are the things that we're trying to tackle. So I'm going to ask something right before I give Mr. Oni access back to the floor. So for this program, we're going to have a few things. We need you guys to help us with a few things. So first of all, we're going to need pictures and videos. So like when they're teaching in class, teaching the students, okay, you can have like a minute video, 30 seconds to 1 minute or 2 minutes video of them learning, pictures of them learning, then attendance. So the last time, right, we gave them head count, and I don't think that was good enough for them. So we're going to need attendance. Like, okay, so the attendance form can just let it carry a piece of paper, right? Carry names of the students. You can just rule that name of the students, the gender, and the class they are. So just they write that, and you can take a picture of the attendance and send to us. So a picture of the attendance and picture, video, and pictures of them learning in class. Also, we're going to need, so we can have 2 students, right? A boy and a girl. So we live in a world where everybody is gender conscious now. So it has to be a boy and a girl. One can just be the president or the monitor, and then the other person can be the assistant. So people to be in charge of these students. So you guys are aware that your students are going to take part in an essay competition, right? So like, that's just how it will go, so that they can just follow up with each other. And so a few things we need: students, 2 students, a boy and a girl, to be like the monitor and the assistant, and pictures of the students learning, picture videos, a short clip video of them learning, and as well as picture of the attendance that they'll be taking in class. So that's just it. So, and for the essay competition, your student can take part in essay competitions. They can write poems, they can write songs, they can just perform that, do write-ups, and can submit that as well on the portal of the essay competition when that opens up. So basically, that's just very few information. Also, the attendance form is on the WhatsApp. It's on the WhatsApp group. So I'm thinking, instead of sharing the third assessment form here, I'll just put the third assessment form on the WhatsApp group so that everybody can have access to that. But please fill the attendance form on here, right? So that I can know the people that have been in class, because the district is going to ask for that number and they want to know the schools that took part in the training as well. Thank you. So Mr. Oni, you have the floor back.
Yes, thank you very much, Felicia, for your views as well. So that is an example of what we can personally do. It is about being self-conscious about our activities, knowing that the things that we do has an effect. I throw something in my dustbin does not end there. That dustbin is going somewhere. Where it is going has an effect. What is being done there has an effect. And also about awareness, I'm sure we would all agree that the government of the country is constitutes of the general knowledge of its citizen. So if people are not yearning for something, the government would hardly do it, except they are proactive governments. So right now, we will say from our election, we want justice, we want free and fair election. That is a yearning of the people. And even if our governments end up still doing their magomago, they are under pressure from the people. So that is the importance of what we are doing, advocacy, pushing out the information across so that people will start to demand it from our government. People will start to demand the policies to make things better at a larger scale. But this cannot happen. At least, I am not saying it can't happen, but my assumption is it won't happen in our society, except a vast majority of us are willing to put the pressure on our government. Yes, so let's move on. So what is global warming? Global warming is the increase in the Earth's average temperature. Global warming is caused mainly by the rise in greenhouse gas from human activities and the land use change from deforestation and farming. Yes, so we've talked about weather short term. We've talked about climate, long-term observation of the weather. Then global warming is now the encompassing result of all the activities that we are doing that is affecting our environment, which means simply our activities is warming the planet. A warmer planet is bad for everything, bad for humans, bad for animals, bad for plants. So causes of global warming, mainly pollution, all of these things we've been discussing. So what are the 10 causes of global warming? The use of fossil fuel like oil and gas, we mentioned deforestation, human waste as a result of the amount of packaging used and the short life cycle of products. Yes, we are a consumer-driven species. We are always buying. Somebody's husband that is not buying is termed as a poor man. He's not taking care of his family. But as he's not taking care of family, in some ways he's reducing his carbon footprint, So we need to change our psyche as a society. People need to understand that the solution to things, the result of happiness is not buying stuff. We need to buy, yes, to survive, but let's buy what we need. And let's reuse what we can, and let's recycle what we can as well. Then power plants that burn fossil fuel, yes, energy production is a big emitter as well. Oil drilling, like I mentioned, gas will come out of the oil. First, there's gas flaring, adding more to carbon in the atmosphere. There is the oil itself, when it gets to its destination, it produces more carbon. Transport and vehicle, overconsumption, buying too much stuff. Industrial farming, the commercial farms are always thinking about the bottom line. And when you are only thinking about the bottom line and money, you don't care about the environment, you don't care about the health benefits or the health hazards that your production is causing to everyone. Then there's also industrialization, same as everything, and overfishing. I have mentioned this, someone else have mentioned this. We are not taking care of our oceans. And another is bad policies or unenforced policies. We have policies to help mitigate this thing, but nobody is doing anything. Nobody is asking questions. So what can I do? So these are the things you can share with your student. What are the things we can do? You can use less water. Drink tap water instead of bottled water. Before there was bottled water, pure water, ice water, where everybody was drinking tap water and we are alive. I wonder how healthy the whole bottled water industry has come now. And even, mind you, there is something called microplastic. When we bottle water, when we put water in plastic containers, when there's any form of heat or temperature change, plastic will leach into the water and then we consume that water. I'm even sure that by the time they remove all the plastic inside of us, they'll be able to produce one ATM card per human being, you know? And then use less paper. We're in the digital age. You're all on your phones. Anything that can avoid printing, type on your phone, type on your computers. Reduce the use of all these finite resources that are around us. Cut down on single-use plastic products. In your house, when you're going to the market, take a bag with you. You know, all the things you want to buy, don't collect all those black nylons in multiple places. Reduce the amount of nylon you take from markets. Walk and take bikes. When there is short distance, when you want to go for a short distance travel, walk. Leave your car at home. Take the exercise. It's also good for our health. Plant a tree. Planting tree is very, very, it's a low-hanging fruit. It's something that we can easily do. You know, plant trees around your house. If you can't plant trees, you don't have space, plant vegetables, things you can eat. They are also sequestering carbon as well. Ask parents to use LED lights. Reduce the use of all these yellow lights that we are using in our houses. Eat less meat and dairy. Meat production produces a lot of greenhouse gas. In fact, the amount of grain that we feed our animals to eat the meat, if human beings are eating it, I am sure the agri sector will not have any issues with the amount of pollution it is creating currently. Talk to friends. Advocacy. That's what we are doing here. That's what we are teaching you to do, to teach to your students to do as well. The 3 R's: reduce, recycle, and reuse. Read up articles, you know, be updated on what is happening, information about climate in your environment. It can help us react on time. For example, in Turkey, there was earthquake. There was about 60 seconds alarm of the earthquake that was about to happen. That 60 seconds, I am very sure would have saved some life of people that, you know, were in the position to react to that message. Share information about global warming on social media. Preach the gospel. It might be boring conversation, but this boring conversation can mean life or death to human beings, to their neighbors, to their friends, to their role models. You know, start a recycling program at your school. Yes, this is also part of where we will come up with projects that can be easily implemented by students. So pollution and overconsumption. We know the causes of pollution. We are putting out untreated waste into the environment, we are polluting. We are aggregating waste in dump sites, we are polluting. We are over consuming everything, it creates more pollution. So types of pollution, we have water pollution, we have air pollution. Water pollution, as we can see in this image, all our refuse is going into the river. Like the river is going to push everything into space. I don't understand. You know, even in space itself, there's something called space junk. A lot of space activities today is creating a lot of junks in space, which is very dangerous to further missions into space as well. So we need to understand that it is important to manage waste better. Ways which this waste can be managed is we can burn waste in a controlled manner to boil water, to power turbines. So all of these waste you are looking at in this image, the non-biodegradable materials there can be used to create electricity or repurposed into new products. Land pollution, same thing. Creating landfills landfills that are not properly managed. There's air pollution as well, toxic gas into the atmosphere and all of that. Many human activities lead to pollution and destruction of natural habitats. Many, if not all, activities. For us to be able to think, we need to eat. For us to be able to eat, we need to farm. For us to be able to farm, we need to clear land. For us to be able to farm, we need to use pesticide and herbicides. Everything we do produces waste and harms our environment. Overproduction and overconsumption, we've mentioned. We as a society, our economies depends on purchasing power. People need to buy. They need to buy from your company for you to make money. Students need to come and buy classes and stay in school for you to have a livelihood, right? But we need to understand what is priority, what is not priority. You know, in your own various ways, make researches and communicate this to your students. Have a lively session with them, joke with them, you know, use examples that you are sure that, you know, they are experiencing one way or the other. Well, all you need to do is to think, and these things will come to you. Overpopulation. Human beings are too much. We are falling off the cliff in this image. In fact, the way people live in America, the way their society is structured and how abundant resources are to them, if everybody on earth were to be living like Americans, we will need to have 7 heads. We will need to have 7 planets to be able to accommodate the amount of wastage in that environment or the amount of consumption. So overpopulation is an issue. I know already the economic situation is forcing people to say, I only want 2 children, so I can take care of the 2. That is good, right? Also, if you have the means, if you have the money, don't have too much children. You know, have 2. If you want more and you're rich, adopt other human beings that, you know, nobody is caring for. You know, these are ways for us to improve, to regulate the population of the world. The link between population growth and climate change, very easy. The more people there is, the more need to feed those people, to sustain those people, to produce goods and services for those people. The moment a human being is born, an industry is born. Pampers, Cerelac, school, uniform, and the list keeps going till the day the person that you even do coffin and go and cut trees. You know, so we need to understand how we can communicate the information to people, because these students that we are training, we have no idea. All we can do is inspire them. We have no idea the solutions that are in them, that our teachings can inspire to create new solutions that can save our planet. Environmental sustainability. Environmental sustainability simply means thinking about the environment while we go about our daily activities, our productions, our businesses, thinking about the environment. Put the environment first, because without the environment, we will not exist. So that is a simple idea of environmental sustainability. Whatever you are doing, think about what is the effect in the environment. Is it sustainable? So let's look at how can we help achieve sustainability. clean water and sanitation, such as learning to avoid wasting water. When you are washing, when students are washing in their houses, reduce the use of water. Don't always open the tap to the highest volume. If you reduce it, you can also still get what you want to do, the cleaning done, and save water for our environment. Climate action, act now to stop global warming. Acting now is telling somebody about climate. When you go home today, tell your spouse, tell your neighbors about climate change. Have a conversation with them. I learned something today. I think you should know about it. You to go and learn about it. This is important. This is important for you. This is important for me. People will say, what do I have to do? What can I do about climate change? If you do something or you don't do something, what other people are doing would affect you. So it is best that you are contributing to a positive outcome for our environment. Life on land, planting trees to help protect the environment. It is important to plant trees when we can. And you cannot plant tree, plant any other form of plants. You can have desiccation plants, also sequester carbon. Food plants also helps as well. Let's always try to plant. Sustainable cities and communities, biking, walking, or using public transport. In situations where we can. I can't advise Nigerians that have vehicles to be using public transport because they will just even murder you inside before you get to where you're going to. But have other means of transportation. As you have a car, buy a bike. A bike uses less fuel. You can use that to move around to places that are closer to you. Have a bicycle as well, cycle around, walk too. These are things that we can do. So that is the end of this presentation. I want to say thank you to everybody, for listening. I would like to take feedback from you on this class. Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Is there anything that you feel like I should have done better so I can improve my sessions for other teachers as well? And aside from that, we can just have a general question period where you ask questions, I answer questions that I can, suggestions, until the end of this session. Thank you.
Okay, while we're taking the questions, please, I would like everyone to fill the attendance. I'm checking that sheet and it's just 20 people there now. So please fill the attendance form and also fill the best evaluation form. Like I said, I'll send the other one to the WhatsApp group chat. So please, while you fill that, if you not fill the attendance, please, the 2 links are on the chat right now. Thank you.
Are we here? I'm waiting to hear questions or observation.
Yeah, some people made observation in the chat session.
Okay. Let me check that. Please, not everybody will go and read your chat to speak. Thank you. Some people said they enjoyed the class, so that's good. Great, so let's go out and do what we can. The least we can do is talk about climate change. When people understand that all these children that you cherish so much and you're happy and you're buying the whole world for, if we do not take care of the climate, they will not have a planet to take care of them in the future. So I guess I was very clear with this class, and we've all learned 1 or 2. So without further ado, I think we finished a few minutes before the end of time. I'm still waiting if anybody wants to talk, but if not, that will be all from me today. Thank you. very much, guys. I am so happy to have been part of this session today. And we hope we can also have other sessions to further this initiative. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Feisha, thank you as well. Thank you for organizing.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you for organizing this session.
Thank you. So please, hopefully our first classes will start on Wednesday.
All right, thank you, the
And
organizers of
we'll be
this.
looking forward to
conference.
those classes.
Okay, speak, Mr. Damlare.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I just want to ask, when was the next after this conference now?
All right, so Feisha, do you want to take that?
Okay, so on Wednesdays, that's when extracurricular starts, right? So we're guessing that the first set of lectures will start on Wednesday. So when you can send in the pictures and the attendance and then having a video section, like with them learning. So pictures, you can do a 1 minute or 30 seconds video of them learning in class. That's totally fine. And if you cannot teach on Wednesday, you can pick another day of the week that's convenient. That's also okay. So say in 2-3 classes, we'll actually finish the curriculum and then we'll move to the activities part of the program. Well, so I would also send a form to a Google document though to the group, because I need to know schools that have space for tree planting. And yes, we're going to have tree planting in some schools, and also we'll have recycling in other schools as well. So that would help us streamline the schools that we'll be going to as well. Okay, Victoria, your hand is raised. You can unmute your mic and speak.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
To all, facilitator and you. We appreciate you and all this. And what I want to ask is, it's quite good for us to know this, but the implementation is a major thing. Sometimes you want to plant trees, mostly economic trees that can stay long, because these aesthetic plants, though they are good, but when they occupy the ground, they are not so much useful rather than for them to grow and that sort of time become useless. But why not encourage us, especially government schools, to plant economic trees that can be useful in the nearest future? For instance, I went to Futa some few years ago. I saw some big trees that have been preserved for many decades. If government schools can have these economic trees, like Melina, like teak, or whatever, which will be used in the nearest future. I saw a place somewhere, they have very big Melina, I think that is a church. They saw it and used it to make benches for their church. I saw a school with very big, this natural tree. It was cut and they used it to make chairs for their school, government school. So I think that one, it will be better if we can have it. And our sister that said that we have signified, I signified last week that there is space in my school for trees, but government, they will say we should do this, but we will wait till only God knows. And I don't want, if they can help us very well, to give us these trees to help us so that it will not just be mouth and without action. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I want you to understand that you can also be a champion of this idea in your own community. Yes, we are going to have tree planting activity, but when it comes to tree planting, the first thing we need to think about is the environment first. So if the kind of seeds you can get for trees you can get is not even economical trees, let's plant them. And at the same time, if you see that there is enough space for an economical tree to be viable, then yes, that makes sense for you to look at what are the kind of trees you can plant. Is it for furniture? Is it for fruits? There's nothing wrong with your school producing oranges for local markets. This can subsidize some materials you might need to get for students as well. So thank you for that opinion. And I think that, aside from government or no government, you can try and, with the platform of having this classes in your school, you can reach out to the principal and say, within ourselves, what can we do? How much is it to buy pawpaw seed? How much is it to buy seedlings for orange trees? Let's plant economic trees in our schools. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I really appreciate. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Abidoye Adeola Elizabeth. Sometimes ago, we collected the tree and we planted it. Not in this my present location, no. Not in this school, not at Ikorodu Grammar School now, but in a school. After planting the tree, we monitor the tree for a long time, but later we find out that when they want to do another construction, the thing pains me. The construction needs, they said it's on the where they want to do the construction. And at times, even the children themselves, they are tampering with the tree. After we fence the tree around, looking for barbed wire to do all that, this kind of things, what can we do? My own question now is that how can they help us to encourage to tell the management that any tree that we after putting all our efforts, that nothing will happen to it after they might have transferred us away from the place. So that's what I just want to say, because after someone has nurture a tree, and something, it's not our own permanent place. Getting there after many years, and you find out that things have happened to the tree, someone may not be happy to continue like that.
I understand you, ma'am. I understand you. Thank you very much for your efforts and your observations. And these are part of the things that we would put through when we are tendering, when we are proposing to the government to take more responsibility in this area. So this your comment has been noted. As you know, this class has been recorded. So get information from all the materials we have to prove our point. And say these are the things that are happening. These are information coming from those that are there and are doing it. How do we protect their efforts? In
not
making
in this my present too. Please, somehow, we are not abandoned. It may be transferred anytime.
I understand this, man. I understand this.
After years. So,
yes.
Thank you.
That's
But I attended last week also. I have not gotten data. Hello, ma.
Sorry, ma. So that's the problem. That's why we're begging. That last class, like we only had 17 people register their attendance. How can 17 people fill attendance in a class of over 37 people? So I've been trying to get the other people, because you cannot, once you send to 17 people, when that 17 come out and say they've gotten, the other ones will start coming for me.
Okay.